Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. I hope you're all doing very well today. In the studio, I've got a Fender style guitar made by Schecter that I think Fender would be completely unwilling to make. So what exactly is this guitar and why do I think that Fender would be unwilling to make it? Well, let's get into it. So what exactly is this Schecter that we're looking at today? Well, here it is. So T-style guitar, humbucker in the neck, single coil in the bridge. Humbucker, of course, is splittable. So this is the Nick Johnston PT from, of course, Schecter. Now, the specs on this guitar are pretty impressive. So we're gonna get into it in a second. And of course, we'll make some natural comparisons to the Telecaster, the prices between the Player Series and this, and of course the features between the Player Series and this. And that's where this guitar just absolutely runs away with it. So let's get into it, find out what this guitar is all about, plug it in, and take a listen. Right, so let's quickly hit up some of the highlights on this guitar. Of course, I'll link to it down in the video description below. You can check out full specs down there. But let's start off with the headstock. Locking tuners. How great is that for a guitar in this price tier that competes directly with Fender's Player Series? So to have locking tuners up there, that is a huge win. I don't even know what the least expensive Fender that comes from the factory with locking tuners is, but I can guarantee you it's much more than this guitar. Now, we've got a Graphtec nut, which is perfect. So locking tuners, Graphtec nut, roasted maple neck. Again, great feature for a guitar in this price tier, and an ebony fingerboard. So we're not stuck with like pau ferro or some sort of other kind of wood that's probably okay, but you know, rosewood, maple, ebony. I'm a traditionalist, let's stick to that. So yeah, beautiful jet black ebony fingerboard. And you can see sort of like those hollow ring inlays that just give it a more of a custom look, I suppose. Fretwork is like shiny, so smooth. Again, no grittiness from the factory. These frets are shined up amazing. Again, you know, you would think it would be from a higher price tier playing on these frets. The neck is satin, so it's really, really nice and smooth. It's a little bit flatter than a Fender on the back and a little bit flatter on the front. So bear that in mind. It's not going to play like a Fender. It just has its own thing going on, and it's like very, very nice to play on. Now moving down the neck, truss rod adjustment right there on the heel. That's a nice feature, so you're not taking off, you know, plates or trying to stick an Allen key between strings and all that kind of stuff. Very easy to adjust. On the backside, we got some contours. Check that out. Really nice. So we've got a contour there, but also if we look to the side, you can see it's thicker at the base and then it kind of tapers down. So it's a little bit nicer for your hand to get up high. Now the body is made from alder. We've got a humbucker in the neck and we've got a single coil in the bridge. This is a really great setup. Sometimes the neck pickups on a Telecaster are, well, a little underwhelming compared to a Stratocaster. So hey, throw a humbucker in there and you've got the best of both worlds. Go to the neck and you've got like a big fat creamy lead tone or just like a big bluesy tone. Go to the bridge and you've got all that, you know, twang. Sounds great with some gain. And then if you go to the middle pickup, well, you can still split it. That's what's great about Schecter. They always give you a little bit of extra value. So you split that and you've got kind of two single coils and you can get that Telecaster twang. So that's a really great setup. I really like that pickup layout. Now, while we're talking about the specs, let's go ahead and take a peek in the control cavity. I have no idea what size pots are or anything like that. So let's just check it out together. I'm always curious, you know, in this price tier, you know, if there's concessions made or what, but you know, so far the specs on this guitar are pretty incredible. So let's take a look here. And it looks like full-size pots. Fantastic. Well, there you go. I was half expecting some smaller ones, but this is really, really great. So yeah, spec-wise, this guitar, man, hard to touch this guitar in this price tier in terms of like the specs on it and everything. And while we're here, you can see it's got 6 individual saddles for bridge adjustment. Now, as for the price, well, this guitar competes directly up against Fender Player Series within a few bucks. So we'll talk about value and how that compares after we plug it in, which could be pretty interesting. But for now, let's take a listen to this guitar and see what it sounds like. All right, so let's start off with some clean tones. We're gonna go from the neck, that big humbucker, all the way to the bridge, then we'll add some gain. Here we go, let's see what that humbucker sounds like. That is a big and warm tone for sure. Sounds to me more like a Les Paul than a Telecaster. So yeah, big, fat, creamy tone there. Let's split that and play something similar. Yeah, already you can hear a little more treble. So another usable tone for sure. Let's go back to the full humbucker and go to the middle position here. So we got the humbucker and the single coil, and let's see what that sounds like. Now here's where I'm really curious. I'm going to split the humbucker now. So we've got sort of more of like a traditional telly. Let's see if it can, I don't know, have a little bit of that kind of twanginess to it. Yeah, when playing single notes, especially if you go to your fingers and kind of dig in. You know, you can definitely get some of that quackiness. So that is great to hear. That middle position will be pretty versatile. And then let's see the bridge. See what kind of twang this thing has on offer. Here we go. Yeah, nice and bright, tons of twang there. And if we play kind of back in the bridge there. All that sizzle that you associate with a Telecaster. And then again, if you kind of dig in with your fingers or, you can get some of that telly twang. So that's great to hear. All right, so now let's talk Schecter versus Fender. And here's where things get pretty interesting. Now, if you watch my channel at all, you know exactly which direction this is headed, because we've got locking tuners, Graphtec nut, roasted maple neck, ebony fingerboard, some of the nicest fretwork I've seen on a guitar in this price tier, nicer than any of my American Fenders, regardless of the price. Excellent fretwork on this one. We've got contours on the body. We've got truss rod adjustment right here. Great pickups. Yeah, coil split. In every available metric, it absolutely kills the Fender Player Series. And that's, as I mentioned, that's the reason why I like Schecter. simply because of the value. If you were to add up, all the specs here and try to find the equivalent Fender, well, number one, you might not be able to because of the specs on this guitar. And number two, they would charge at least twice what this guitar costs. We all love Fender. I love Fender, but you pay a premium for the name and they really scale back on the specs and the features that they give you on their guitar. So that's why I love this guitar, and that's why I think Fender would never ever be able to deliver something like this in this price tier. They just wouldn't do it, and that's where brands like Schecter absolutely are amazing. So in terms of playability, here's the neck profile. It's not so flat along the spine here, so it's a nice, continuous curve, so it feels great in the hand. It is a little slimmer, so bear that in mind. And of course, the fingerboard itself is pretty flat, so it doesn't play like a Fender. The satin on the neck is just wonderful. Beautiful color on that roasted maple neck. There's the heel joint in the plate. So there's some nice ergonomics to it. There is no belly cut, so bear that in mind as well. It's very traditional on the back, strings through the back, just like a regular Tele. And then, yeah, up over the top. So that gives you some of those same tones in the bridge, which is really nice. But in terms of weight, this one came in at 7.8 pounds. So, pretty decent, but it does have a little bit of heft to it. And yeah, other than that, it was nice to see full-size pots, high quality metal switch. So all the hardware, all the details really looked after. So those are my final thoughts on this guitar. Incredible value. Now, 2 or 3 years ago, I actually looked at the Nick Johnston S-style guitar. So if you like these features, but you prefer an S-style guitar, check that one out. It's still got all the same things, the locking tuners, ebony, roasted maple, great pickups, good trim system, all that kind of stuff. Like this guitar, but in an S-style package. Check that one out because, again, up against the equivalent Fender, it absolutely destroys. It just kills it. So yeah, great guitars. Thanks to Schecter for sending this one into the channel so I can share it with you guys. This is a beautiful T-style guitar. Check it out. Thanks so much for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did, be sure to subscribe to the channel. Other than that, I'll link to the guitar, all the gear I use down in the video description below. You can check it out there if you're so inclined. Other than that, have a great day. Take care.